So I'm going to again share those questions, but I hope that Bibhash can take a little bit of, uh, you know, can help us in this regard as well to do that, that what are the questions as well. So let me just try to share the questions we received already. Okay, we do not remember here that who asked this question, but I know we are really sorry for that, but we will try to answer them one by one, plus those questions that came in the chat box. The first question is, how can we ensure that CSR initiatives effectively, the word here is very important, effectively reach communities in a simple and impactful manner? May I request Christian Para to shed some light from your own experience on this question?
I think that one is one of the most important questions, because CSR is, in this case, is the connection between, for example, a company and the community. And to be sure that an initiative, a community program, a donation have an important impact, I think we need to consider, especially today, 2 or 3 things. The first one is that we need to be honest with the objective of the intervention or with the initiative. For example, if we are talking about, for example, if we want to support the breakfast of the children of one small community, how many breakfasts the company will support? For example, 100 breakfasts. This is the project. That's it, in some way. But what's happening today is that companies are using these 100 breakfasts to enhance their own corporate reputation. So it's like we need to be honest about what we are doing, about the initiative. If the support is 100 breakfasts, that is the support, the main part of the initiative. If you want to support, for example, to buy laptop, how many laptops? 20 laptops. If you want to support the local team of cricket, for example, okay, this is my support with the local team of cricket. Things like that. Because if not, we are talking about corporate reputation or marketing. And it's very difficult to manage that in some context. So we need to be honest about the initiative. And the second aspect is that we also need to be very careful with the narrative of the CSR approach. Because today, especially large companies are using the political narrative of some concept, are using the political narrative of the meaning of inclusive labor, for example, are using the corporate narrative of the political narrative of climate change, are using the political narrative of the Agenda 2030, for example, as Patricia mentioned. And I'm not against that narrative, but we need to be careful in terms of when this narrative is an honest approach, and not marketing. And my final recommendation is that we need to think, and in connection with the second part of the idea, we need to be conscious about what are the real problem and what the people, what they really want. Mm? Sometimes for, especially with community with very low skills and in the difficult socioeconomic context, or with a lot of um, um, inequalities in terms of the general inequalities from a socioeconomic perspective, it's very difficult for them to express what they really want. Mm? And the companies and the consultants who are working in this type of intervention, they need to be honest in to try to identify what the communities, what the people, what they really want. Mm? Sometimes they need a, a new school or to support the library. They need to enhance or the community program for, or the transport between one city and then another city. Small things, and because of this approach of marketing and corporate uh, reputation, uh, we cannot see what they really want. This is
Yeah,
our
that's right.
reflection. Mhm.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian. Because we are just a little bit of over the time. I want to go quickly to the other questions. This second question I'm trying to answer because I have some experience working in exactly NGOs and accessing fund for the CSR initiatives when I was in Tokyo, mainly funding from Toyota Foundations and others. This is very important question again, and if this is somebody who is also from NGO sector, I thank you for posing this question. The question here is that how can we identify genuine companies? Because there are a couple of things happen in CSR. One is greenwashing, another is actual real CSR. And we need to be uh, very much able to understand that which one is greenwashing. Is this an activity or which is mainly promoting a company? Uh, is this something that is promoting a company, or is this something that trying to sell something, a product or a service of the company, and that is part of their CSR? So we need to be very careful that what is the genuineness of a company's CSR initiatives. And if you are good enough to define this boundary between what is greenwashing and what is real strategic CSR, this is what, as an NGO, you should be able to know and understand. And for an NGO perspective, you shouldn't just take the money from CSR initiative for a company if it is a greenwashing, for instance, because you will be also should be careful as well that is this a real CSR initiative as well. I'm going to the third question, and because it is related to India, so I like to ask Kritisha to briefly, if you can tell a little bit about, there are three important things: post-liberalization, privatization, because India really opened the economy after 1991, and now India is at the very forefront of globalization. In fact, India is just as economically, but culturally, and in many ways, India is leading, as you also heard from the Consul General as well. So, Britisha.
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. Yeah, some of the participant wanted to know, and in fact, a few of them we are touched during all three of our presentation. In fact, like we have moved on from basic CSR to a very good concept of reaching towards global sustainability agenda, and CSR becomes part of it to contribute in a perfect way for the world. So in that shift, what are the changes mainly we can see is the just not only the philanthropic part of it. We are seeing the change which is bringing a strategic CSR alignment, so that gives a strategic structure through regulation, as well as a part of putting it into a right practices. And secondly, we have two things which demands through the statutory, where the act is put, it becomes not only contributing for the society, there should be transparency in that. I think I should tell this, that every company in India needs to put this spend annually when they have this financial reporting body. I think there is one more question in the chat box which asks, is there any governing bodies to recheck this? So there is a recheck through economic reporting of every industry to show what amount, where spent, how much spent, and there is an auditing for that. And one more thing is that it is, and I'm proud to be an Indian in that aspect, saying it is made mandatory. It is not that yeah, any company wants can do. No, it's mandatory, and that's how it comes under acts again. And there is a beautiful focus area after the shift and changes happened with the globalization, where we focus on also sustainability development can be included in your CSR agendas, and a lot of environmental initiatives which can benefit all world, not only India, because CSR and you spend only for your country. No, it will be helping the whole globe, and that is a shift we can see the way CSR is shaping. And there are challenges which are very crucial, and I know it's not easy to do CSR. I myself have heard in a lot of conferences when I go, because I used to love to attend conferences. There were a lot of invitation because CSR becomes so much focus past 5 to 6 years post COVID and all. So everybody has a challenge and fund accumulated, and nobody knows to spend because there will be some check by the government which cannot be aligning them. And as we said, there will be fake NGOs, fake people to give a
That's
bad
right.
impression on the
That's right.
industry to the local society. So there was we have measuring impact, challenges, aligning with the core competencies, and innovation opportunities. The challenges. Over
Thank
to
you,
Dr. Tapan.
Patricia. Yeah, your experience and from that to provide a bit of expert opinion is very, very appreciated. I am going through the last few questions. The last question from here, as you can see, that how can one gain insights into CSR activities of various organizations? Look, this is a bit of education and the way that many of us have done. The best way that you should do is to go through some case studies. I have been part of a case study book on these, and I, as well as the vice president of Mahindra and Mahindra, we compiled a, a volume as well as with other companies. I will share here in the screen if possible. And the other is, second part of the question is, how can this organization contribute to educational institutions? I think those big organizations are now coming and collaborating with universities, with research institutes. And I was part of that. I already mentioned that the initiative by the Mahindra and Mahindra. So I hope that if you are a researcher in education institution, please reach out to them as well, because there is a research and development wing in big corporations as well. So as well as these questions, there were a few questions which I have copied in my mobile, and I'm just one question that is, based on what criteria do the corporates select the agencies for funding? Frankly speaking, it depends actually, that corporations, their interest varies, their focus also varies. What sector of the company is, it is a fully service sector company, and the figure I have given you, 34,000 crore CSR spending annually at this moment from India. I have done a little bit of review, and it's looked to me they are predominantly service sector companies, like many software companies, big software companies are doing that. So one important criteria they are following at this moment is aligning their CSR activities with sustainable development goals. So we all know that there are 17 goals, starting from eradicating poverty, hunger, women empowerment, all the way to partnership, the goal number 17. So if you are also looking for funding from companies, you need to align your activities too with those. The last question here is from someone who is asking again about educational institutions do require regular CSR support from industry giants to be utilized to develop skill and knowledge to Gen Z? How will we to make it quickly possible to do takes lots of effort to get CSR support? Please elaborate and support. Okay. So again, as I said, it is that both the parties need to reach out to each other, and there is no way that if you are sitting idly that the corporation will come to you. At the same time, the corporation will also go to them. The two parties need to come together. I know the country where I am, we do have Rio Tinto chair in our University of CSR. We do have business funding for doing CSR research, like Christian and I have done a lot of that project. So we really need to tell the companies that we are able to do so, and companies will then again come to you because they also need to help as well. So as we are coming to the end, I also would like to summarize, if you can see my screen, and then I will move to a vote of thanks by Professor Dr. Shubhendu Dey. Let's summarize. So far, we have learned the CSR approach, what is CSR and what is not. It varies according to jurisdiction and context. We mainly looked into the Australia and India, but through Christian, we have been to all over the world too, and we have seen how the program varies. Increasingly, companies are understanding the benefits of CSR, which is great, as it enhances corporate reputation and trust. It also improves employee morale, attracts talent, reduces regulatory risk for large infrastructure projects, something Christian was telling that $7-10 billion like that. It's big, right? And Indian projects are even bigger. A good example of starting CSR activities could be aligning operation with SDGs. And I have used this notion to answering a question. One of the key challenges for successful CSR implementation, lack of expertise. And I hope this workshop has too little bit of way that has improved many of our knowledge and our little bit of expertise that what it is. And we are very, very happy for that if it is really that eventual. Many of the companies, their employees see CSR as extra work rather than part of the role. That's why my last and not the least, what we also suggested for Mahindra and Mahindra as well, we need to embed CSR in companies' operation because it is instrumental as it strengthens brand reputation, it fosters stakeholder trust, attracts and retains top talent, drives innovation, improves financial performance thereby as well. So this is the part for us. As we are slightly over the time, I wanted to thank you for your participation and wanted to welcome Dr. Shubhendu Dey to provide a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Sarkar. Let me begin by wishing all the participants and our speakers a very happy Dussehra. On behalf of Antarpath Impact Consulting, it's a privilege to extend my heartfelt gratitude as we conclude this insightful webinar on effective dialogue for community engagement, insights for CSR professionals in India. Sincere thanks to Mrs. Neetu Bagodia, Honorable Consul General, to all the attendees whose engagement and thoughtful participation have made this session truly meaningful. Special appreciation is reserved for our distinguished guest speakers, Mr. Christian Para and Dr. Pratisha Curtis. Mr. Para's illustrative examples from large-scale industrial projects and his emphasis on CSR as a pathway to socio-economic achievement added significant depth to today's discussion. Dr. Curtis's perspective on CSR in the Indian context provided a transformative foundation for impactful change. We are also grateful to Dr. Tapan Sarkar for adeptly moderating this session, guiding us through complex ideas with clarity and presenting valuable international comparisons, especially between India and Australia. And also for including the Rio Tinto's Argyle Diamond Mines case study. Despite having some technical glitches earlier in the session, thanks are also due to the Antarpath organizing team for ensuring a good learning experience for all participants. The knowledge shared today will undoubtedly empower each participant to foster more meaningful stakeholder dialogue and amplify the impact of CSR initiatives. The session recording and participation certificates Dr. Sarkar did mention earlier on will be shared with everyone. We would also share a feedback form with all of you, so we request you to give your honest feedback so that we can work on making the future webinars much, much better. I do understand that there have been some technical glitches, but I do also understand that the content was very, very rich. We look forward to welcoming you at future events and ongoing engagements. Those interested to have one-on-one discussion are encouraged to do so with our experts. Our contact details are given for your reference. You can see that on the screen. So wishing everyone a continued success in creating lasting community impact through CSR. Thank you once again, and best wishes for a wonderful day ahead and a joyful Diwali in advance.